Today, we need to talk about the Miami Dolphins. Okay, a team that went on a run last season, looked really, really good, had a little bit of a meltdown at the end of the season, and of course, froze their butts off in Kansas City and ended up losing in the first wild card round of the playoffs. But they were the eventual champs, so that's take it as you will, right? Now, every team that's not the Kansas City Chiefs feels let down and they have to rebuild. They have to refocus. They have to retool for this upcoming season. And that's exactly what the Miami Dolphins are doing. And doing it better than a lot of teams. Tyreek Hill is even a fan of his own team's moves. He's ecstatic. He's ecstatic. And I don't know if I really would be if I was Tyreek Hill, though I do think the Miami Dolphins are having a great free agency compared to what they have, but they're still losing quite a bit. But let's get into it. What are the Miami Dolphins doing? How is this going to improve their team? And what else can we expect from them? Well, I'm just going to read off a list real quick of the Miami Dolphins signings. They've got Jordan Poyer, 1 year, $2 million, the safety for the Buffalo Bills. Shaq Barrett is coming over, linebacker, 1 year, $9 million. Aaron Brewer is coming from the Titans, the center, 3 years, $21 million. Anthony Walker, linebacker from the Browns, had a decent year, 1 year deal. We don't know the money attached there. Jordan Brooks, linebacker from Seattle, he's got a 3 year deal. Jonnu Smith, the tight end, is coming over on a 2 year deal. We bringing back Jake Bailey, the punter, great 2 year deal for him. We re-signed Robert Jones, who was a guard, and he was the only restricted free agent. They brought him back. They brought back Elijah Campbell and Nick Needham. Okay, guys who aren't getting a ton of minutes. Needham gets a few snaps here and there, and expect Elijah Campbell to get a few more snaps because they haven't re-signed Eli Apple yet, and I'm not sure if they will. These are some good signings. Let's take a look at them at face value, right? Jordan Poyer fills a hole. They lost to safety. Forgot his name right now. We'll probably come up to it later. But Jordan Poyer, he's been killing it in the AFC East, and he's going to stay in the AFC East, just going from the far north to the far south. Miami is going to rock him, and it's going to look good. Jordan Poyer still got it. He still got it, man. He's been playing really well. He had another year on his deal left in Buffalo, but Buffalo decided to release him themselves for cap reasons. But I think it's a good pickup. He's getting up there in age, but he can still ball out. We know that. Jordan Poyer's been that dude for years. Shaq Barrett's been that guy in the NFC South, and now he's going to make his way to the AFC East, but still in the South. And I like the move. They shore up a linebacker. Actually, the next three signings, Shaq Barrett, Anthony Walker, Jordan Brooks, are shoring up their linebacking core because they lost a Van Ginkel. They're not sure on Jerome Baker. They're not sure about Jalen Phillips' Achilles injury. How is he going to recover from that? That was a huge loss in the middle of the season. They haven't re-signed Jerome, so I'm sure that he's just going to be let go. The Aaron Brewer signing for 3 years, $21 million. That means Connor Williams is not going to be coming back, I'm sure. And so it's a good place filler, right? They got younger with Aaron Brewer. He's been a great center for the Titans. Now, I don't know offensive line stats off the top of my head, but it seems like a good pickup. Again, Jordan Brooks was doing well with Seattle, so I think this is a good move for them. None of these deals are breaking the bank. And again, a lot of them are 1 year deals. Shaq Barrett's a 1 year deal. Anthony Walker and Jordan Poyer are all a 1 year deal. So it's kind of a test run. They can see how they feel about it. Really, because the Miami Dolphins are going to have a lot of cap issues coming up here soon. They have Jalen Waddle. They just picked up his 5th-year option. They probably picked up Jalen Phillips. I didn't actually hear about that, but I'm sure they picked up his 5th-year option as well. They got to worry about signing Tua in a couple years. Okay, I'm not sure. I think it might be next season. Yeah, next season. So that's why they're signing all these 1 year deals. It's okay. We need to save room for a quarterback. We got to save room for a lot of other guys who are going to be coming up. Jalen Ramsey is coming up here soon. Tyreek. So they got to save their budget. But this is going to be a good move for the interim. They're filling the holes because they had a lot of holes to fill after this season. We have a lot of guys to read through on who didn't or is leaving Miami, which is quite a bit here. And with that being said, I mean they had such a good season. It's hard to see them recaptivating this without these new pickups. Of course, we'll see what they do in the draft as well, but they're starting to fill holes. They still got guys left in free agency that haven't signed, as far as I'm aware, at least. Starting with Emmanuel Ogbah off the edge. I would think they would want to bring him back depending on the money. I don't know what the contract value is there. But they do need an edge rusher because they did lose Christian Wilkins, who signed a 4-year deal with the Raiders. Wilkins, Max Crosby, that's crazy. But now what do we have coming off the edge in Miami? Is Jalen Phillips going to be more of an edge rusher now? I would think so. I would think so. But we'll see. Because they also lost Andrew Van Ginkel, who was another good blitzing linebacker when he went to the Vikings on a 2-year deal. And so that hurts. That's, again, why they had to fill with Van Ginkel, Wilkins, Jerome Baker, Emmanuel Ogbah. They had to replace these guys. That's why they signed 3 linebackers. All right. Again, I think they're going to move one of those guys off to the edge as well. So we'll see. We'll see. But that's not all that they lost. They lost Cedric Wilson. We already mentioned they lost Connor Williams. Braxton Berrios they haven't re-signed yet. Isaiah Wynn off the guard. They didn't really need to sign more guards as well because they lost Robert Hunt to the Panthers on a huge 5-year deal for him. Good for him, $100 million. Deshaun Elliott, Chase Claypool, Eli Apple, Salvon Ahmed, Raekwon Davis signed with the Colts, Justin Bethel, a couple other guys who are less noticeable, right? I don't think we're worried about a ton of these guys. Obviously, the big ones being Ogbah, Baker, Connor Williams, Christian Wilkins, Braxton Berrios, Van Ginkel, Robert Hunt, and Isaiah Wynn. You could see Eli Apple as a loss. I don't really think it's that big of a deal, but but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. They're plugging holes. And so the Dolphins are doing a really good job of that with how crappy of a cap room they have. It is not pretty. It is not pretty, especially when you do consider that they're not thinking about just this year. They're thinking about how are we going to retain Tua in next season. Okay? It is a rough cap situation for them. And they're going to figure it out, right? And that's what happens when you have guys like Tua, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey, Christian Wilkins at the time, right? You had a bunch of really good dudes that are going to get paid. Trading Jalen Ramsey might have to be a part of it. I don't know how you avoid the dead space there because that is a problem with a lot of NFL trades, right? Is the dead space, the money that just gets lost, and it sucks. It hurts cap space immensely. They're going to have to restructure a lot of contracts. We'll see who retires over the next couple of years for them because they could lose Justin Houston this year. They could lose, there was another guy I'm forgetting. But, I mean, I think Raheem Mostert only has another couple of years in him. You know, we'll see. We'll see what goes on here. But, honestly, Tyreek Hill is applauding his own team, and I'm glad that he's doing that, and I'm glad he's being vocal about it. I don't think this is the greatest of free agencies, but when you look at what they have in their cap space, you look at the money, you look at the holes that they're trying to fill here, they're doing a very solid job. Again, it's a lot of 1-year deals, so we'll probably be playing the same game next year. The Dolphins really need to win this year. They need to at least get to the AFC Championship. At least. Because, yeah, it's about to get real ugly. But we'll see what they do. I expect the Dolphins to still be making moves, still signing guys back. Hopefully they can get a Cedric Wilson back at least just to bump that receiver room a little bit. Maybe they get Eli Apple back. I don't know. Maybe they re-sign Isaiah Wynn, which I'd like to see at least on a 1-year deal. I don't know. They just have to keep plugging these holes, and that's what they're doing. So we'll see what they come up with. But the Miami Dolphins are still in a very strong position. Tua just has to improve. Again, it's a fairly young team. I mean, there's a lot of older guys on it, especially when you consider last year with Justin Houston and bringing up the average age. You got Tyreek, who's a vet for sure. Jalen Ramsey, who's a vet for sure. But you still got Jalen Waddle and Jalen Phillips, right? These are young guys that you probably want to build your offense and your defense respectively around. And so we'll see. Tua's still very young himself. Mike McDaniel's a young head coach. He's coaching this team very well. If they can just get Tua to eliminate the turnovers and just be smarter this year, I think he will, because this last year was probably his last fully healthy season, right? Because when he was a rookie and a sophomore, he was still dealing with that hip injury from Alabama, and then the year before, he had those 3 concussions in one season. So this was his first fully healthy season. He played really good. He's just going to continue to get better with a full off season ahead of him. He's just going to get smarter. He's got a coach that he continues to mesh with, an offense that just continues to build around him and get more comfortable with. Devon Achane is also taking stress off this man. Raheem Mostert led the league in touchdowns. So yeah, this team is still set up for a very good run. They're plugging their holes that they need to. Again, no major signings, but they're doing what they need to do. And so yes, the Miami Dolphins should be applauded. But what do you think? How far are the Dolphins going to go? Can they win the AFC East, dethrone the Bills? Let's find out. I'll be in the comments.